What's up, guys? It's been a while. I haven't uploaded to YouTube in a while. Um, been working on the car here and there. It's just been little like piece by piece kind of things. So I haven't really been recording. Probably should have been. Some of you guys actually seem to enjoy this content. But I have the Supra tore down again, obviously. So let's do a little update of what we're doing here. Let me find my flashlight so you guys can see under the car. So under the back, and it's still going together, as you can tell, because I don't have my second brake caliper on there. But touched up the underside of the car. You guys watched me clean it, and now I just painted. And it's dusty, but I also painted the subframe. Went with that nice purple, almost candy, the way it like changes from dark to purple. Some spots, you know, kind of miss, but the diff's gonna be there anyways. So yeah, that's coming together. I got the PBM solid bushings to put the subframe up higher, which actually makes my rear suspension links at a much better angle. I'm really excited to see what this does for the car. So yeah, obviously I still have to do the diff and put the axles in. And with that, I'm gonna re-gear my fully locked diff again. I have the built-up LSD, which kind of missed one time, but it was also cold. So it might just be one of like a thing where it kind of needs to warm up a bit, but I'm gonna go back to the full locked. But I'm gonna do the 410 gears and the, I can't remember, 29 spline I believe it is, 27 to 29 spline conversion, and just a thicker pinion shaft basically is what that gives you. So then I have, don't mind the wood, I've been doing side projects as well, but I got a new radiator because I wasn't completely stoked with the cooling. As you guys remember, I also cut the hood vents in there, so working on cooling. I think it's going to be a lot better this year. I've heard, just even because I had a Mishimoto radiator, which seems to do pretty well, but people always say that it's not the best, and Koyo does way better, so figured I'd try that out. I have as well, to get rid of some Mishimoto stuff, is this Treadstone intercooler. So I'll throw a different intercooler on as well, and hopefully it'll just flow, and it looks like it will flow more air through the intercooler, up into the radiator, out the hood vent, and everything there will be kosher. What else have I done? Over here, as you can see, I did some fancy paint matching. So I paint matched the valve covers and the intake plenum. But that's not all I did. I pulled the head off and I redecked it, obviously, but did head studs, factory head gasket, and then also put in Brian Crower BC 264 cams, and springs and titanium retainers as well. So I'll be able to rev this thing higher, probably have a little bit more mid-end power, hopefully a little more bottom end, but 264s will probably be more mid-end. Besides that, I think it's pretty much the same. It's just been a fully built head. Hopefully you guys don't mind the noise. I got 3D printer things going on over there. Okay, so then I also have the transmission up here on the bench. I'm about to clean the bench off because I've been having some issues where even in neutral, it rolls the car forward when I let the clutch out. So I don't know. I tried to video it last year, but I really didn't know what I was doing, so I didn't. But I tore this apart and I built it, putting new synchros, new gears, billet shift forks, updated crush washer, all that. And so I think I don't know, something's not happy with the synchro. I think a synchro is sticking, and it makes it want to be like in gear when I let the clutch out. So I'm gonna pull this apart and we're gonna see what's going on in there. It's been drained and sitting up here for a while, so hopefully when I take it off, all the gear oil's just in the bottom of the case and all the gears are as least oily as possible for me right now. Yeah, so actually there's more I've been doing. It's just been, like I say, a little bit here, a little bit there. It's still wrapped in masking tape, but I'm gonna do a digital dash. This guy will obviously, I built mounts and everything, so that cluster will come out and the digital dash will go right in. So I think that'll be pretty neat. It'll give me a little bit more work in a way, because I gotta make the fuel sending unit communicate with that, which I've read up on ways to do it. I think you add 5 volts and then, you know, read resistance off it on the way back or whatever. I'll get it figured out. It can't be too difficult. And then it's been a money spending winter, I guess. So I also have PMU and CAN keyboard. That's what I'm trying to think of. So yeah, PMU and a CAN keyboard to control the systems in this. Probably gonna tear out a bunch of the wiring and kind of make my own chassis harness for the lights and everything and run it off the PDM in the controller. And hopefully everything goes smooth with that, and I could get rid of a lot of factory wiring and stuff that I kind of like routed around my cage that I'm not super happy with. So yeah, the dash and everything will come out so I can rewire. There's a hole in the floor I got to patch just from rust around the drain. Not a huge deal. It's not a winter car anymore, so it's not going to see any of that crap they put on the road that's rotting it. So I'll just patch that, paint over it, make it nice, and not have to worry about it. Let's see, what else do I got? I got front subframe poly bushings. So I gotta drop the front subframe to do those, and then I'll probably also give it the same purple paint just to make it matchy, and it'll be a little bit more visible on the front because you'll be able to see partially from the motor, or from like beside the motor, you'll be able to see maybe that's purple. But yeah, so I'll drop that, I'll do pop the bushings out, paint it, pop the bushings in, put it back in. Should be good to go at that point. Now the next part that I plan on doing is a little tough for me to do, honestly. But to start, I cut off this section, which I could always put back in, but it made pulling the engine way easier having that out of the way. So like I said, I could always put that part back in, make it a bolt-in piece. But what I really want to do is cut the whole front off, besides the frame rail obviously, and do a tube structure front end. And I think it'd be really pretty simple to do and make more sense in my case, because I'm not using the headlight motors, right? I only have these I'm only using this to solid mount these lights, and it stays sleepy eye for me. I keep it in the sleepy eye look. So the headlight motors and stuff aren't doing anything. So that's just extra weight that I have in the front for no reason right now. So if I tube it and I make mounts for the lights, mounts for the lids, and then obviously the front corner fender mount, and then I'd have to make a mount for the like nose cone and brace and stuff. But yeah, I'm planning on that. Hopefully it all works out. I think I'm gonna have to take some time off work because I've been kind of slacking. So I'll have to take some time off work to really focus on this project, I think. But that's the perks of spending all the money on the car and not on a vacation. You get to use your vacation time for working on the car. Yay. So with that done, this out of the way, it gets rid of most of the like ugly, uneven parts of the engine bay. So like part of me was like, oh, I'll just smooth and shave the bay and then paint it and it'll be good. But if I chop the front off, you're hardly gonna notice that the rear is not even. So I'm gonna paint the bay and I'm still unsure on what color. I'm thinking like a gray or a silver. I'd really kind of like a gray with almost a bronze flake in it. I think that would go crazy with this. But so I'm still deciding on an engine bay color. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. I kind of want it to be something that I could also paint the interior, the floor at least, because I'm going to keep all the plastic, and I think I want to keep the cage black just so it's less noticeable for other cars when driving on the road. Just keep it kind of low-key. So I kind of want to paint the floor of the car whatever color I paint the bay, and I want it to be different than the brown. I want it to be kind of, you know, a pop color, especially with the engine having so much paint match now. It's almost going to need that like contrast before just it's all brown across here, you know. That's why I kept this the like silver tin color, is just to separate the brown, as well as keeping the intake runners just raw aluminum, so it kind of just, you know, separates the colors a little bit. I haven't finished putting this back together. I got to helicoil this bolt. It somehow got stripped, so not a big deal. I'll just helicoil it, or maybe even, I haven't looked. Well, I got everything kind of stuck in here right now, but no, I can't through bolt that. It's right in the way. So yeah, I'll have to helicoil this, which is kind of a bummer. It's like a new oil pump. So, I mean, I really didn't over tighten that. I just tightened it this time going back together, and it pulled the threads out. Whatever, it happens. It's aluminum parts, so a little bit of helicoil so I can tighten that bolt down and not have to worry about my tensioner falling off and losing timing. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Garage is a mess. I got RC crawler stuff. I've just been goofing off. It's winter time, so I mean, there's really not a whole lot to do. Can't really see a whole lot outside right now, but as you can tell, I've been plowing. I got snow piles, and there's the old beater plow truck. But yeah, it's been winter. It's always the same. So yeah, I think, I'm not sure how much I'll get into in this video. I mostly just wanted to give you guys an update because I've been absent, but I do want to pull the transmission case halves apart. So I think I'll get that table cleaned up, and yeah, I think we'll pull that apart and see what it looks like inside for tonight. All right, so I have my table cleared off. I vacuumed up all the metal shavings. So to start, I'm gonna take the bell housing off, and that's just these 14 mil headed bolts right here. All right, all those bolts are off, so it should. Don't do that. So yeah, it'll be fine. It's tough, you know, casting needs a good shock every once in a while. Nope. No, it doesn't. All right. So now, let me get this shifter off here. Those are 12. Alright, don't forget the shifter housing has those washers that I just sent. One of them flying halfway across the floor that I now have to go find. But yeah, don't forget about those guys. Those are necessary. Alright, so now I'm just trying to remember where all the little detent balls and everything are on this. All right, so behind each one of these little torch bit plugs, these guys, all of them here, are all different. Well, they're probably, I think all these are the same, but there's a spring and a detent ball, and that's what gives your shifter the like actual notchiness of going into gear. So you really want to keep track of these. These I'm going to keep in place until I need to pull them, if I need to pull them, depending on what we find in here. But this and the one over here, I believe, need taken out when you take this off. Otherwise you lose them, because it's actually for this part of the shifter up here. That being said, this also needs to come off. I believe I just have to take this off for now, and then when the rear case half comes off, this can slide off this shaft and the shaft stays in place. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong. We're gonna figure out right now. All right, first things first, let's pull this guy. And see, there's that spring, and there's that ball bearing, the little BB. So I'm gonna set those here, and I'm gonna pull the one on the other side and just make sure they're the same before I let them get mixed up. All right, so this one is actually just a plug of some kind. It doesn't actually have a detent or anything inside. It looks kind of like it has a roll pin in it. All right, let's pop this guy out real quick and see how we, yeah, so this just slides up and down, that, and obviously this shaft slides there. So I don't think there's really much we can do about that until we start sliding it apart, if I remember correctly. Just trying to decide my best plan of attack here. I think now I'll pull off this front plate, which won't be too big of a deal, except for that, can you guys see it? Not really. Except for the silicone that's gluing it on. That's gonna take a little bit of tapping. Like I said, I drained this, so hopefully not a whole lot of gear oil comes out of it. And also, hopefully the gear oil that is still in it isn't super nasty, telling me I screwed up my rebuild and I have to do it again. Hopefully it's, you know, obviously there's going to be some synchro damage, but we'll see once we get it apart how bad I screwed up, or if it was just a strange little fluke. So yeah, that's how you pop the front cover off. Surprisingly, it wasn't too stuck on there. I might have to, you know, glue that on a little better, but it also wasn't leaking, so there's that. So now there's these little snap rings here. Don't worry about those. Take the outer snap rings off, because that's what's actually holding it to the bearing. The bearing is held onto the shaft by those, both top and bottom. But it's this outer ring here that is holding the case, or the bearing to the case basically, so these can't, you know, walk in and out on each other. So let's see how I can get these off. I'm gonna need something back behind there. I just had a pick where it go. Alright, so I'll try and open it and slide the pick kind of behind it. Here, let me see, walk this to a better place. There we go. Alright, so I was able to get behind it, so now I can just walk it off without sending it into oblivion. Now we'll see if I can do the same with the bottom one. I don't know if you guys can see this bottom one right now, but just know I am removing it. Hopefully. I think I might need a different set of ring pliers for this guy. Maybe if I turn them around, use them backwards. Ah, oh, come on, it was so close. Alright, let me see about a different set of snap ring pliers. Alright, I found a set that's not completely hammered. So maybe I'll be able to get it with these little 90-degree guys. If I can get this back to a better spot to start with them. They do seem to bite a lot better than those other ones I was using, but I just slipped off still. Oh, I got under it with the pick. Alright, so now you can just walk that off. Boom, front side is ready to come apart. See, that shaft actually slides in and out now because that clip's not there to keep it in place. Actually, I don't know if you can see that, the thing moved. But yeah, without the clip there, this moves in and out. So make sure you put those clips back in. As you can see, that one pushes in. So yeah, like I said, front part of the case is ready to come off. Do I have a connector on that still? So now I believe this has to come out. Yeah, that's your speedometer cable, or speedo gear, the spinner, bobber, majigger 9000. So that's got to come on because that's driven by a helical gear in there, and it's just held in by this little guy. So there's that. Make sure you keep all these pieces together so you don't lose them. Alright, now I believe I can take off these bolts, 14 mil heads, all the way around, and I should be able to pull the tail housing off. Should be. Let me see if I could get some kind of tray up here on this table before I pull it off, because I have holes in this table that will just go all over my stuff. Alright, that wasn't actually too bad. I got the tray up here, and now I'll just zip off these 14 mils. I'll set you guys to the side while I do that. Not sure how much of it you'll see from there, but you guys will know what I'm doing. Alright, so now, you guys probably saw most of that, but now we have all the bolts out. The only thing holding it in is this red silicone. Toyota says to use form and place gasket red, so that's what I did, but when I go back together I might just use Right Stuff. It will look better, honestly, and Right Stuff works really well. So now I'm just going to get a pry bar in on the little spots they give you to actually do that, and see if I can get this thing to separate. So this is just a little pry bar. I don't want to put a whole lot of pressure against it. Alright, so it already is breaking free. That's good. And there's the fluid. There's definitely some things in it that shouldn't be in it. It's a little bit metallic, but that's alright. If we gotta rebuild more of it, at least it's coming apart now. So as you can see, the shift lever thing did come off right there, and we should be home free to slide this guy all the way out. So yeah, the little side detent ball I pulled out of here, looks like this guy probably goes into there, and that's for these detents here. So yeah, we have the housing off, Fluid looks awful. That's just great. Wonderful. What we all need to see. Not. It doesn't really look brass. But it was also fresh, so I mean. It didn't make noise. It just, you know. Anyways, I'm gonna continue pulling this apart. So now we just gotta get the front housing separated from the sandwich plate here. Not as much room for a pry bar on the other side that we just pried on. Okay, so there's enough room. So now we have this separating here. Turn it so maybe you can see. And just like that, here, this is what the what this guy goes onto, and it just sets down in here. So we'll get that out of the way before it falls, and I'm like, where'd that go? And just like that, we see the inside of an R154 transmission. Now we gotta figure out what synchro is sticking and making it want to turn the whole shaft all the time. So we can confirm that we're in neutral here, because this gate is in between the synchros and this gate here is in between the synchros. Alright, let me Alright, now this is actually why my vise is mounted to this table, is for clamping this middle section in to that. So let me get the vise turned and the center section clamped in, and then we'll keep looking at this. Alright, well, I have it up, pinched on the sandwich plate, and now I can see what's going on, and I believe I found the smoking gun. So this is the, this should be 3-4. Right? Hang on, let me think about that a second. Yeah, so we should have 3, 4, right? So our 4th gear synchro here, you can see it has some play, like it should. I mean, it's made to spin, so it'll slow down. The 3rd gear synchro, also play, which, like I said, is good. And you can see this gap here on both of these, and a gap here on this one as well, and this moves. This should be the 2nd gear synchro right here. But if we look at this 1st gear synchro, it doesn't have any play. It moves the whole shaft. And it's also pressed snug up on this, the gear here. The hub gear, however you would want to say that. So that's the issue right there. That's the smoking gun, is this synchro, wow, let me use my words. This synchro right here is stuck on this hub gear. And that's great, because that means I have to pull it all the way apart to change this one. So that's fun. Actually, if I remember right, the front section comes off right here. And then the rear presses off from the back side. It's been a while. But yeah, so this is my issue, nonetheless. And fixing it is gonna be in another video, because I'm probably not gonna pull it apart tonight. I just really wanted to find my issue. But one of these boxes here. Also, I'm going back with underglow. Underglow is cool. I don't care who you are, and it never went out of style. But anyways, I have these brand new synchros. So obviously, while it's apart, I'm gonna replace. All these are new. I don't know what happened here for this one to stick, but I'm gonna tell you right now, if I only pull apart to this synchro, I'm only gonna replace this synchro, because the other ones are good. And it's not gonna bite me in the butt later, because it's working. And like I said, those are brand new synchros. I just put them in 1 year ago, basically. So yeah, that's really interesting to see, and kind of looking forward to pulling it apart and seeing what actually happened there. I don't know. Alright, well, I think that's going to do it for this video. If you guys want to see how to tear down an R154 even farther, that'll be my next video. I'll make it as I tear this down to figure out why that synchro is stuck. And obviously to repair that synchro, I got to tear it down. So, yeah, next video, I'll show you all about these detents and how to pull these rods out so you can pull the shafts out. And we'll go from there. But yeah, so that's just kind of an update since I've left you guys hanging for so long of what's going on. Not a whole lot, just a bunch of work. But I'll try and keep you guys all caught up from now on. It's just kind of hard sometimes. Like I say, I do it in little pieces. But anyways, I'm just rambling. So yeah, thanks you guys for watching. Catch you in the next one when we fix this transmission.